Elena and Eliza Voss were born 3 minutes apart and spent their lives side by side. The kind of twins who finished each other's sentences, shared diary entries, and could swap places without anyone noticing. Same dark eyes. Same smirk. Same scar on the left knee from a childhood bicycle crash. But one secret set them apart: Eliza was married. It wasn't planned that way. One weekend trip to London, a whirlwind romance with a charming tech consultant named Daniel Hartwell, and suddenly Eliza had a ring on her finger. No grand wedding. Just a courthouse, a dress from Zara, and a lie. She told Daniel she had no siblings. Elena never liked it. He deserves to know, she'd said one night as they sat cross-legged on the floor of their tiny flat. But Eliza only smiled, brushing back her sister's hair. It's not lying. It's compartmentalizing. Still, the twins spoke every day. Voice notes, photos, secret codes only they understood. Until the day it stopped. It was a Monday when Elena knew something was wrong. No morning text. No meme. No, good luck on your interview voice note. She called. It rang twice. Then voicemail. At first, she told herself Eliza had forgotten. But by Tuesday, her chest was tight. On Wednesday, she caught a train to Eliza's address, one she'd only ever seen in shared selfies and FaceTime backgrounds. The house was just like the photos. Red brick. Lavender bushes out front. Too quiet. Daniel answered the door. Disheveled. Pale. Eyes red. Elena, he whispered like a ghost, had walked up his front steps. She hadn't introduced herself. She hadn't said a word. But he knew. And something about that chilled her. She's gone, he said. Gone where? She ran off, he stammered. Took nothing. Left me. No goodbye. He opened the door wider. Elena stepped in, her heart hammering in her chest. The house smelled of lavender and bleach. Photos of Eliza, or her, depending who looked, smiled from every wall. But something was wrong. She wouldn't just leave, Elena said softly. She talks to me every day. Daniel looked down. Maybe you didn't know her like I did. Elena stared at the man her sister had married. The man who somehow knew her face, her name, her existence, without ever having met her. I'll stay tonight, she said. Just in case she comes back. He hesitated, but nodded. That night, Elena lay on her sister's side of the bed, inhaling the scent left behind on the pillow. She scrolled through old messages, voice notes, until one caught her attention, dated 3 days before Eliza vanished. If anything happens to me, don't believe what he says. Her blood ran cold. Something happened to Eliza. And Daniel was lying. Elena woke before dawn, her sister's last message echoing in her head like a curse. If anything happens to me, don't believe what he says. The house was silent. She slipped from the bed and crept down the hallway, each step sinking her deeper into the lie she was about to live. In the kitchen, Daniel sat hunched over a cup of coffee, still wearing the same crumpled shirt from the night before. You couldn't sleep? She asked softly, her voice low, nearly her sister's. He looked up, startled. His eyes flickered over her face, searching for something he couldn't name. Guilt? Recognition? Or suspicion? She's not coming back, he said hoarsely. I've accepted it. Elena watched him sip his coffee, steadying himself. There was something almost rehearsed in the way he spoke, as if he'd told this story to himself so many times he almost believed it. People don't just vanish, she whispered. She did. He looked straight at her. She was unhappy. With you. She almost said it aloud. Instead, she reached across the table and laid her hand over his. His skin was warm, trembling. She felt her stomach knot, part revulsion, part curiosity. How long were you two happy? She asked, voice soft as confession. His gaze flicked to the window. At the start. Before she changed. Elena studied his profile, cataloging every detail, the lines at the corners of his eyes, the pale scar along his jaw, the way he clenched his teeth when he lied. He turned to her. "You look so much like her. I keep thinking." His hand moved to touch her cheek. She didn't flinch. If he was testing her, she wouldn't fail. "That maybe I'm dreaming," he finished. She swallowed. "Do you want me to leave?" "No," his voice broke. "God, no." A pause. "Stay," he whispered. "Please." He reached for her hand again, held it longer this time. His thumb brushed the inside of her wrist. She felt her pulse jump, hating the warmth that shot through her. She was here to uncover the truth, not to feel anything. But as he looked at her, something tightened in the pit of her stomach. A dangerous awareness. She understood why Eliza had fallen for him. The charm was still there, gleaming under the wreckage of grief and guilt. She would use it. "I'll stay," she said, "until I find out what happened to her." His eyes darkened, something unreadable passing through them. "You won't find anything," he said quietly. But she already had. That afternoon, while Daniel went to the hardware store, he claimed he needed more paint. Elena slipped into the bedroom closet. She traced her fingers along the rails until she found the loose panel her sister once described. Inside, a small box waited. She pulled it free and flipped the lid open. A passport. Eliza's. Her wedding ring. And a folded letter. Her heart slammed in her chest as she unfolded it. "I know you're reading this. If you found this box, it means I couldn't leave. He wouldn't let me." Elena's vision blurred. "If I disappear, it wasn't by choice. I loved you, Lena. I'm sorry I couldn't protect us both." The back door creaked open. Elena shoved the letter into her pocket and kicked the panel closed. She straightened just. As Daniel stepped into the room, a shopping bag in one hand. Their eyes met. For a heartbeat, neither spoke. He set the bag down. "What were you doing?" Her mind raced. "Looking for something to wear," she lied, her voice steady. "I don't have many clothes here." He stepped closer. Too close. She forced herself not to back away as he studied her face, searching for cracks. "You know," he murmured, brushing a strand of hair from her cheek, "I keep thinking, if I close my eyes, maybe you'll be her." He was close enough she could feel his breath. She fought the urge to shove him away, to scream. Instead, she let her lips part, her expression softening. "Maybe," she whispered. A long silence stretched between them, thick with unspoken threats. "Dinner tonight," he said finally. "I think we both need it." Elena nodded, forcing a smile. But in her pocket, her sister's letter burned like a promise. He wouldn't let me leave. Tonight, she would become Eliza. And he wouldn't see it coming. Elena had always been the cautious one, the quieter twin, the observer. But by the time the sun set behind the lavender bushes, she knew there was only one way to uncover what Daniel had done. She had to become Eliza. In the bathroom mirror, she studied her reflection, feeling her heartbeat drum in her throat. The same dark hair. The same freckle beneath the left eye. The same lips that could twist into the smile her sister had used to hide everything she couldn't say. She slipped into one of Eliza's silk dresses, black, elegant, hugging her curves. She'd always thought it looked too grown-up on her sister, too exposed. Now, as she smoothed the fabric over her hips, she realized it was a kind of armor. Eliza had known how to weaponize beauty. She practiced her sister's voice, softening the vowels, tilting her chin just so. When she finally stepped out, Daniel's eyes widened. For a split second, he looked as if he'd seen a ghost. "Eliza," he breathed, the name escaping. Him like a prayer. Her pulse skipped. "I thought," he stammered, "you said you didn't have much to wear." "I found something," she murmured, lowering her gaze the way her sister used to do when she wanted to be forgiven. He swallowed hard. You look incredible. Thank you. She moved past him, catching the faint scent of paint and cologne. Underneath it, something metallic she couldn't name. The table was already set. Candles flickered in the darkened dining room, their flames mirrored in the polished wood. A bottle of wine waited between their plates. Red, too dark to see through. He poured her a glass with a trembling hand. To new beginnings, he said, voice raw. To truth, she replied, lifting her glass. They drank in silence. Every sip was a test of her control. She watched him watch her, his gaze drawn to the hollow of her throat, the curve of her collarbone. He was trying to decide if he believed her, if he dared. She let her foot brush his under the table, felt the answering tension in his body. You're different tonight, he said finally, voice low. I've been thinking, she whispered. About what you said. About her leaving. He held perfectly still. Maybe I was wrong to judge you. His eyes flickered. You said you'd never forgive me. Elena tilted her head, letting her hair fall forward the way Eliza used to when she was hiding something. I'm tired of being alone. The lie tasted bitter on her tongue. But she kept her gaze steady. Daniel reached for her hand, his fingers tracing the inside of her wrist, exactly where he'd once touched her sister. You don't have to be alone, he murmured. For a heartbeat, she felt the pull of it, the illusion that maybe he loved her, that maybe he could love anyone. But then she remembered the letter in her pocket, and her skin crawled. She slipped her hand free. Show me the bedroom, she said, her voice soft but unshakable. He hesitated. Elena. Eliza, she corrected, looking him dead in the eye. A shiver rippled through him. He nodded, standing. He led her down the hall, past the closet where she'd found the hidden box. The door creaked as he pushed it open. The room smelled the same, lavender and something darker. She stepped inside, forcing herself not to flinch as he closed the door behind them. Say it again, he whispered, his breath hot against her ear. She turned, her heart pounding so hard she thought it might give her away. My name is Eliza, she breathed, letting her lips hover inches from his. His eyes closed. His shoulders sagged with something like relief or surrender. She brushed her mouth against his once, just enough to taste the lie. Then she pulled back, her voice icy. But you already knew that, she murmured. His eyes snapped open. In the candlelight, she saw it, the flicker of fear. Good, she thought. Let him wonder. Let him doubt. Because tomorrow, she would find out exactly what he'd done to her sister. And the next time she kissed him, it wouldn't be pretend. It would be the last thing he ever felt. By morning, Elena had mastered her sister's smile. The one that could disarm a man. The one that made people believe she was harmless. It was almost too easy. Over coffee, Daniel studied her with a dazed hunger, like he still couldn't decide whether he was living in a dream or a nightmare. Every time she caught his gaze lingering on her lips, she thought, you don't know which twin I am. And that terrifies you. It should. After breakfast, he left for work, claiming he had a meeting. She knew he was lying. She'd found his appointment calendar hidden in the kitchen drawer, each day meticulously blank since Eliza disappeared. When his car pulled away, she exhaled. The house seemed to expand around her, no longer pretending to be a home. Just a place where a secret had been buried. She searched it room by room, methodical as a surgeon. In the study, she found Eliza's old laptop tucked behind a stack. Forms. She powered it on, holding her breath as the screen flickered to life. No password. Of course not. They never kept secrets from each other. Emails. A journal file. Voice memos. She read and listened, piecing together a marriage that had rotted from the inside. He follows me everywhere. He says he loves me, but I don't believe him anymore. I think he knows about the baby. Elena's hands went still on the keyboard. Baby. She opened the last voice memo, her sister's voice hushed and trembling. If anything happens, it wasn't an accident. He was angry when I told him. He said he'd never let me leave him. Never. The file ended in a ragged sob. Elena sat back, her stomach lurching. All this time, she'd thought Eliza was just afraid of a violent temper. But this was deeper. Possessive. Obsessive. Her hands curled into fists. If Daniel had killed her sister because she was pregnant. A car door slammed outside. She snapped the laptop shut and darted to the window. Daniel stood in the drive, holding a bouquet of white lilies, Eliza's favorite. He was early. She pressed her palm flat to her chest, willing her heartbeat to slow. Get back into character. By the time he stepped inside, she was waiting at the kitchen counter, her expression soft, serene. You're home, she murmured. He set the flowers down and stepped close enough that she smelled the cold autumn air clinging to his coat. You look like you've seen a ghost, he said quietly. Her throat tightened. Just remembering. He reached for her cheek, brushing it with the backs of his fingers. I thought we could have dinner again tonight. Just us. Elena swallowed. You're trying very hard. To what? He asked, his voice low. To make me forget, she whispered. A flash of something dark crossed his face, gone so quickly she wondered if she'd imagined it. You don't have to be afraid, he murmured, leaning in. His lips grazed her temple. I'll never let you go. Her breath caught. She wondered if Eliza had felt the same cold dread every time he touched her. She forced a smile. I don't want you to. It was a lie so smooth he almost believed it. That night, over candlelight, he watched her the way a collector admires something priceless. The heat in his gaze sent shivers up her spine, some of them real, most of them revulsion. When he reached across the table to take her hand, she let him. She let him think he was winning. But under the table, she pressed the tiny recorder to her thigh, hidden beneath the folds of her dress. You've been so patient with me, she said softly, her voice a perfect imitation of the woman he'd destroyed. You're worth it, he murmured, his thumb stroking circles against her skin. Tell me, she breathed, leaning in until her lips nearly brushed his ear. Did you ever think I'd come back? He stilled. She felt his pulse kick under her fingertips. Every day, he whispered, voice breaking. I prayed you would. He lifted his head, his eyes shining with something that might have been love or madness. And as she looked into them, she knew the truth was closer than ever. He had killed her sister. And tonight, she'd make him confess. He didn't know it yet, but Daniel was already in the trap. The recorder, the journal files, the voice memos, Elena had gathered every piece of her sister's truth. All she needed was his. And tonight, he was going to give it to her. They sat in the living room after dinner, wine glasses untouched on the coffee table. She curled her legs under her, wearing Eliza's old red sweater, the one he used to steal off the laundry line just to smell her scent. Daniel watched her like she might vanish if he blinked. You've been quiet, he said. Are you still adjusting? She tilted her head, pretending to be unsure. It's strange, stepping back into this life. It doesn't feel like mine. He reached for her hand. Because it's ours. There it was. The possessiveness. The way he always made it sound like love when it was really ownership. Elena leaned in. Do you remember the night we fought? Before I left? He stiffened slightly. Of course. What did I say? He faltered. You said you needed space. She gave him a sad smile. And what did you say? Daniel exhaled slowly. That I couldn't live without you. Exactly. Her voice was barely a whisper now. You said you'd never let me go. Something in his eyes flashed regret? Fear? Or memory? Elena stood and walked to the window, arms wrapped around her ribs. And then I just disappeared. She turned to him. Do you ever think about that? He nodded. Every day. Tell me the truth. Her voice sharpened. Did you hurt me? He froze. What? Just say it, Daniel. She took a step toward him, her eyes burning. Did you kill me? His mouth opened, then closed. His voice dropped to a whisper. Why would you say something like that? Because I don't remember. She let the lie spill, trembling and convincing. I have pieces, flashes. Blood. Screaming. Your hands on me. Did we fight? Did you? Daniel rose from the couch, his face pale as bone. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do, she snapped. You said you loved me. But you didn't love me. You wanted to own me. Eliza. Say my name again. Her voice broke into a cold fury. Say it like you did when you were angry. I never hurt you, he said, but the tremor in his voice betrayed him. She stepped closer. Then where did I go, Daniel? Silence. His breathing was shallow now, his fists clenched. You know what I remember, she whispered. The smell of bleach. The closet door. Your hands tightening around my neck. He blinked, tears forming. I didn't mean to, he whispered. And there it was. Confession. The room seemed to freeze. I didn't mean to, he repeated, stepping toward her. She said she was leaving. I couldn't let her. Not with my child. Not after everything I gave her. I just wanted her to listen. She was listening, Elena spat, eyes blazing. She listened until you killed her. Daniel's face twisted, a blur of rage and guilt. But you're here, he said. You came back. We can start over. No, Daniel, she said coldly. Eliza is dead. She pulled the tiny recorder from her pocket and held it up like a dagger. His face crumbled. And now, so is your freedom. He lunged. But Elena was faster. She grabbed the wine bottle and swung, glass shattering across his skull. He collapsed, bleeding, moaning, mumbling her name, her sister's name, as the police sirens grew louder outside. She had already called them 10 minutes ago, right after he said the words. I didn't mean to. 1 week later. The press called it the twin trap. The court called it murder. Daniel Hartwell was sentenced to life in prison. Elena stood in the courtroom, unmoved as he was taken away. She'd gotten justice. Or something like it. But in the mirror that night, she still saw Eliza's face. Same eyes. Same smirk. Same scar. She touched her cheek and whispered, I miss you. Somewhere in the shadows of her mind, her sister whispered back. And then came the doubt. What if the wrong twin died that night? What if Daniel killed the one who wasn't planning to leave? What if it was me all along, pretending to be Elena? She smiled. And never answered the question. Because in the end, only one truth remained. How can you ever be sure which twin survived?